The second step in the process is to offer some fix-ups, some alternatives in the meantime, to deal with things like pre-existing conditions, to deal with a high-risk pool, to deal with tort reform, to reduce the number of frivolous lawsuits and the costs that are there. Those are things that we can attempt to enact even with this bill in process. And then in 2012, the American people need to continue standing on their hind legs and change the administration to one that will listen to the people, abide by the Constitution, and not take over our lives. I offered legislation, and I move on quickly because we only have an hour. Maybe we can fudge a little bit since we have the owner here. And he's been so gracious to open this place for us, and I would quickly say there's a basket in the back, and if any of you would care to help in the restoration of this, which I think will be an asset to the community, there's a basket that will take donations as you leave tonight. But I offered legislation when I was in Congress and sat in committee. The Speaker of the House, Speaker Pelosi, didn't ask for it or allow it to be taken up. But it was an alternative, and it's become the centerpiece of the Republican alternative this Congress, that they offered to the President, that they brought to the White House for the so-called healthcare summit. And what it did, what my bill did in about 150 pages, not over 2,000, it did a number of things. One, it said, let's expand health savings accounts. Those accounts that are tax-free for you to use for your health care, and to use when you need it and for what you need to deal with health care. To expand the flexibility of that as well. It also offered for the first time the opportunity of having associated health plans. So small business people, contractors, you name it, could band together an economy of the scale, like the big three, for instance, and could have better access to coverage for their employees at a reduced cost. It makes good sense to offer that. The bill also allowed the purchase of health care across state lines. To increase the competition. Ultimately, we know, historically, and I don't have to have college professors from Hillsdale on the platform to confirm that, we know, historically, more competition increases the quality and reduces the cost, and expands creativity. So to be able to buy across state lines, we know that we can go to Nevada or Utah right now and get better coverage for seniors than we can get here at a lower cost. So why not allow that? We also had a key component of the bill that began to deal with frivolous lawsuits by putting in a cap on non-economic damages. Tort reform. We've done that here in Michigan back in the 90s when I was in the state legislature along with Mike Nye, your representative at the time. And it isn't caused people not to have recourse in the courts for legitimate malpractice, but it's reduced the overall cost of many things related to our health care. And then finally, we had in place a refundable tax credit that would be supplied to any individual or household for purchasing health care coverage. That at that time would at least cover a comprehensive plan. And with the competition of everybody in the United States having no reason not to have health care because the refundable tax credit was there as soon as you showed the binder from the health insurance company. The check was sent in at the set level, and that's in the Republican plan right now, at a higher level. But a greatly reduced cost to taxpayers because, number one, we're giving incentive to taxpayers who are doing it already. We're giving incentive to taxpayers who aren't, but are now going to the emergency room, which is the most expensive health care available, and we as ratepayers end up paying more because of that. This would give that opportunity for everyone without taxpayer expense increased, like the Obama bill did, to have health care. So I think it's legitimate to say no to what's been offered, but it's also responsible to say there are alternatives that we can offer, and then let the people know about it. And ultimately, rather than 80% of the people saying, or better than that, about 86% of the people back in August were saying, no, this isn't it. Go back to the drawing board. Don't run over the top of us.